So the today's shooting day, or better say shooting evening, should be the shooting day from the Porsche GT3 RS. But as we get, surprising-wise, the opportunity to make a car review with the Civic Type-R FK8, we decide to go for it with this car in case of the Porsche GT3 RS. Yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Are you out of your freaking mind? And to be honest, I ask myself this question exactly right now also. But I need to say behind the whole story is a special background. Because anytime when I'm sitting in the car with my son, always this happens.
Wow, look at that! I hold the Civic Type-R!
Yes, again one.
Wow, look at that! I hold the Civic Type-R!
Oh yeah, there's again one.
Wow, look at the Honda Civic Type-R!
Yeah, I know, the next one. Yeah, that's exactly how it looks like. And I hope now you have a little bit more understanding for my situation. Because since he saw this car the first time, some years ago, that's the official car of his dream. So you can give him whatever you want, a Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. No, it's not really interesting for him as long as this car is not a Civic Type-R FK8. And I need to be honest with you, I never had a Civic Type-R on my bucket list. Yes, I'm a big JDM fan, but Civic Type-R was really never on my bucket list. But since then, since every time my son is freaking out when he sees the FK8 Civic Type-R, I put a little bit more my focus on this car. And I need to be honest with you, since then I realize it is really a special looking car, this 5th generation of the Civic Type-R. If you are not a car guy and you walk to this car, it looks to you like a heavily modified Honda, something like Need for Speed Underground or Fast and the Furious. But if you are a car guy, this car plays with your fantasy. And the question that I have is, what exactly happens by the design department of Honda as they design this car? Because it seems to me like some Honda boss took the biggest nerds from Japan, throw them in a room and gave them the task, guys, design me the new Civic Type-R, you can do whatever you want. Because you find here everything out of the pop culture. You find some robot anime designs, some gaming and some tuning scene designs, samurai and ninja designs. I know, joking, it really looks from some point of view like a samurai or like a ninja, and it starts in the front. So when I look at the front of this car, the first thing that I'm thinking about, it looks like a mean ninja warrior or a samurai warrior, because it looks like he has a black mask with mean looking eyes. And I really never saw a car that has so much inlets and outlets in the front like this car. And it is so JDM. It is really pure JDM style. Yes, many of them inlets and outlets they are fake, they are just more show and shine, but the way how they fit together is perfect. Also here the inlet in the bonnet, it is so perfect. Somehow the way how this car looks like, it talks to my inner child, to be honest. And yeah, that's really truly JDM. So when you take a look at the side, it's also the same design language. The design language on the side is pretty similar to that one on the front. The first things that you realize are the big wheel arches. It looks somehow like a shyer version of the Pandem Rocket Bunny body kit. You have here in the front big outlets, even more bigger wheel arch at the back. Big and wide side skirt with the carbon fiber style side skirt with also the red stripe, same thing like in the front. And it is somehow the same way how it looks like a mighty samurai or ninja warrior. And when you go to the back, the design language changed a little bit. Now it's getting more a little bit like a fighting robot from an anime movie, like this one from the 90s or from the 80s. The same design language like you find it at this war machines, war robots from the animes of this era. From this point, the design language starts to change. It starts with these elements on the rooftop and goes then to this real big back wing with that big side plates, and then there you have a smaller wing. The way how this all looks like to me, it's more a little bit like this anime movies with this fighting or warrior, this war robots from the 90s and 80s. it still fits to the whole philosophy from this samurai or ninja warrior. And then again, from here away, it starts a little bit to get more old school with this tail lights. It's not many people don't like the way how it looks like, but to me it fits also to the back because somehow it is also old school JDM design. And then when you go more down, you see here big outlets, but they are fake. It's just show and shine. And then a little bit more further down, you have this real big carbon fiber style diffuser with a cherry on the top. These 3 exhaust pipes reminds me again in a different way than Ferrari F40, 488, 458. The same displacement, just in the middle part. This one is a little bit bigger and comes a little bit more out. These are not the original one, not the stock one. These are from Remus, but the way how it looks like and how they sounds like, it's really gloriously. And yeah, doesn't matter from which point of view I take a look at this car, it talks always to my inner child like never a car before. And that's really what I like, because it is somehow the design from the pop culture of the 90s and 2000s, and it fits so great to the car. But now enough talking, let's go drive. It's not only the dramatic way how this car looks like, it feels even more dramatic to drive with that car by night through a city, you know. It reminds me somehow on Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, you know, a city by night, a JDM car, a dramatic looking JDM car, nice sounding, nice looking, with big wing in the back, and it feels so special to drive this car. But we don't drive it like by Fast and Furious fast and make some illegal street races. We drive easy and nice. And if you forgot for a second the whole carbon applications inside, and also all the red applications, including the red sports bucket seats, you could also see it in a regular one, Honda Civic, because it feels so well and so nice. You have great overview. The seating position is perfect. The position of the gear knob, I love the position of the gear knob. It is so on point. Every time when you want to take it in your hand, you got it in your hand. And also by the first time when you sit in, without looking where the shift knob is, you grab it, you have it. So perfect is the whole interior. The whole ergonomy of this interior is so perfect made. And also the way how this car drives in the cities is unspectacular, you know, easy and nice. It is not how you want to call it, it's not dramatic, it's easy. You can really drive it easy in the comfort mode. You can really use it as a daily car. That's how great this car feels. But back to the reality, okay? You see it in a sport bucket seats, and you have great side hold, but it's still one of those seats that stills very comfy. You can really spool many kilometers with that car in these seats without any problem, because it's nice and comfy. And also the way how this car drives when you stop by a red light and you start to drive is easy, like a regular one Honda Civic, really nothing special. So it's all together, packed all together. It's a great daily car you can use really in city, in town. You have great overview and everything's working perfect. But let's be honest, I mean, that's a Civic Type-R. The DNA of this car is not driving in a city and drive easy and comfy. Even we do that. We drive it for one day just to find out how the fuel consumption is. We drive it easy. We combined city and highway, and we came on an average fuel consumption from 8.5 to 8.6. And I mean, for a 300 horsepower car, that's a great average fuel consumption. But if you really want to find out what's all about at this car, you need to leave the town behind of you and to go to a racetrack. But unfortunately, we're in Switzerland, we doesn't have a racetrack. But what we have are the nicest pass roads in the world. And that's exactly where we want to go now, to find out how this car really performs and how this car fights up into the mountains, to the corners, and to see his real soul and his real DNA. What's really funny to me at the first moment when I walk in the direction of the car, so when I walk to the car and you take a look to this mighty ninja samurai warrior, that's really how it looks like. You realize it is a design, it's a design language from the modern time, from today, you know. And the same story also when you sit then in the car in the interior. It has this a little bit this old school JDM flair, but all in all it's also a modern design language from the interior. Okay, so far so good. But then when you start to drive this car, and I mean drive not easy and comfortable, you drive it a little bit more sportier, you realize this old soul, this old JDM soul of this car, like an old warrior from the 90s. And this is really how it feels to me. Like in this whole chassis is living an old warrior, old JDM warrior from the 90s, like this Nissan Skyline, R34 GTR, or his brothers, the Toyota Supra, Honda NSX. It has this type of character, really. It feels really old school JDM to me when you drive it a little bit more sportier, because everything still feels so mechanic, you know. When you walk in this direction of the car and take a look at it, you think, okay, it's a modern car, it's a modern looking car, and I think the feeling will be also very synthetic, but not. It's very, very mechanic. Everything, the way how the steering wheel feels, how the shifting feels, the gearbox, how the brakes and the acceleration feeling is really very old school JDM. When you accelerate, it's complete the other way compares to a European performance hatchback or any European performance turbocharged car, because at 2,500 RPM plus minus, it comes a big punch. Before it comes nothing. It's really a big turbo lag, a turbo hole. But after 2,500 RPM, it starts immediately to accelerate. It's like a punch in your ass. That's how it feels like. Compared to, for example, when you compare it to other cars like the Golf GTI, where it starts around from 2,000 and it goes slowly nice up the RPM band. Here it's really immediately puff, and it reminds me extremely to my Nissan Skyline R34 GTR, the same way how it feels like when it starts to accelerate, okay? And what is also comparable to the Nissan Skyline, it revs very high for a turbo engine until 7,000 RPM. Okay, by the Nissan it's a little bit more, it's around 8,500, but you know, the same style of revving, the same style how he climbs up the RPM band, and that has so much so much soul, you know, really, in my eyes, that has so much soul. And it makes so fun to drive it, this modern looking car with this old JDM soul. I really love it. Let's stay for a second by the way how this car drives, because it's so special, okay? It feels, so to me it feels like you have two teams in this car. Team one is the engine, the gearbox, and the mechanic differential, okay? And the even more important team, the superstar team in this case by this car, is the team front and rear axle, including the damper system, the adaptive damper system. That's the more special team, because it gives you such a great feeling in this car, especially the rear axle. It's a multi-link rear axle, and I've never driven a front-driven car, a hot hatchback that drives through the corners like this car. Really never. I mean, that's really on the level from a Porsche 911, even better compared to a regular one, Porsche 911, because when you go fast through the corners, unfortunately right now we have rain, but we already drive the whole morning with this car by dry conditions to make drive-by records, and every time when I throw this car fast through the corners, I was so surprised by the way how it feels like, because you throw it like here right now, right corner or left corner, and a millisecond later the rear axle starts to work with the whole car. This rear axle is so hungry for cornering, it's unbelievable. And it gives to this car this lively feeling. And also the damper system, this adaptive damper system, is so intelligent. It works so well and so fast. It works so fast that it works in the background. You didn't realize it. It works in the background, and it works so good that you didn't realize, oh, it's here, it's worked. You know, it feels like, I cannot explain to you how it feels like. It feels so mechanic, but it is so digital because it's so intelligent, you know. And the other team is the team gearbox, engine, and mechanic differential. And this 2-liter turbocharged engine with this 320 horsepower and this 400 Newton meters of torque is such an old school engine. It's such a lovely old school engine. But what I like even more is this gearbox, because it makes so fun to shift it. It's typical JDM gearbox. It's small, a small shift knob, so direct, so short ways. You never miss a gear. Doesn't matter if you drive fast or slow, you never miss a gear. It's really throw a gear and disappear. That's how it feels like. And even if I don't need to change the gears, I always love to change. So I never driven a car that I really changed so much the gears like here without any needing. You know, I really could drive this in the fourth gear, the hill up, but I love to do this. Drop a gear down, then drop again a gear up, and it makes so much fun. It makes so much fun. So for guys like me who love the shifting, it's the perfect gearbox. And then this differential, this mechanic differential with the torsion system. You really realize when you drive fast through the corners, you have really enough grip. It's sick how much grip you have for a front-driven car, really. It has even more grip to me, to my feeling, than the C63 AMG that we drive a few weeks ago on the same road, right, like here, but by dry conditions. It has more grip, so I really can drive faster through the corners with this car than with the C63 AMG Coupe S model, okay? Also with the adaptive damping system. And this torsion differential always maximize the grip, that you have the optimum grip through the corners, always. You never miss the performance on a front wheel when you press the acceleration pedal, thankful to this great working differential system. What's a little bit sad by this car is, I mean, it's a car from the modern era, okay? I mean, it's a newer car. And you have, by the drive select button, 3 drive select modes: sport, comfort, and racing, okay? So far, so good. But by today's modern car, you can also set some individual mode, you know? And unfortunately, this here is not possible. I mean, if this car would have the possibility, like for example a Hyundai E30N, in case of setting the driving and the driver modes and the steering wheel mode, how it should sound like, how the engine should react, how the acceleration pedal should react, and of course also how the exhaust system should sound. If you would combine this DNA and this Type-R, the DNA from the 130N, I'm pretty sure you would get the best hot hatch of all time for a long time, because this car is already so good. It is really the best hot hatch I ever driven. It goes through the corner not like a hot hatch, it goes through the corner better than a performance car compared to the M4 or C63 AMG. It goes through the corner like a Porsche, really. And I mean, it has some of this Porsche idea. I mean, in my eyes, this car is the GT3 RS Porsche from the hatchback, hot hatchbacks. It's the way how it looks like. It's really serious. It's a track weapon. It's the way how it goes. It is really some kind of GT3 RS of hot hatches. That's a good comparison. But if you would have this possibility to set a little bit more the individual taste of the brake, of the brake system, of the engine system, of the noise from the exhaust system, and also the steering wheel, a little bit more direct or less direct, so really to your own taste, if you would have this possibility to individualize all the settings, you will have one of the best cars I ever driven, I would say, really. I love the character of this engine because, as I already say, it's really old school. It took a while until you have the right boost, when you start to accelerate. It starts from 2,500 RPM and then it comes immediately like an explosion. And to get always the right timing for acceleration, it took a little bit time, because I realized at the beginning I start to accelerate and it took always a little bit of time, and I was always too late, especially out of the corners, because it's long ago that I was driving the last time an old school JDM car like this one, with this old school JDM soul inside. But it makes so much fun because it's not just driving, it brings you to this point that you always need to think about it. Which gear? When should I start to accelerate? This car is a good teacher in case of those things. And so then when you go, for example, to a racetrack, you will be grateful for all that lessons that this car gives it to you, because it's not forgiven you if you choose the wrong gear and you accelerate too late. And in case of this behavior, of this old JDM behavior, it gives you an educational measure. It is like a teacher. It teaches you from corner to corner, and this happens automatically. It teaches you how important it is to choose the right gear by the entering of the corner, to have the optimum acceleration out by the exit of the corner. And it teaches you also how important even more the timing is. in a corner, in the middle of the corner. When should you start to accelerate? Because at the beginning I always accelerate too late, and it took long until the boost came. And all that together, all these lessons together, really make a lot of fun. You know, if you want to drive fast and sporty, it makes a lot of fun, because there are some cars out there, they are forgiven. They forgive you if you choose the wrong gear, if you accelerate too late, because they always have power already from the lowest RPMs. This car not. This car regards you if you have the right gear and you press at the right point the acceleration pedal. It is like a rocket. It explodes you out of the corner if you have the right feeling and the right gear. And that makes a lot of fun. Trying to move in that car sporty by wet conditions is a lot of work and not really much fun, you know, because you realize the wheels struggle all the time to bring that 320 horsepower on the tarmac. But one other thing shows you by this condition how well it works. The mechanical differential that always trying to bring the optimum on power on the corner outer wheel shows here by this condition really how great it is. And even better by dry condition, because it really makes by every corner when you're trying to accelerate out of the corner to bring that power on the tarmac without any problems. It is perfect. A funny thing about that gearbox is that you have always, doesn't matter in which driving mode you are, double deceleration, okay? Always this car double deceleration when you shift down, okay? And then at the first moment it feels a little bit strange, but after some time I think to myself right now, why doesn't every car have this double deceleration system that gives you automatically this double deceleration when you shift down? So at the beginning was a little bit difficult for me, because when I drive sporty I like to heel and toe the whole pedalery and make the double deceleration by my own, you know. But so now by this car I don't need to do it anymore. It's a little bit sad because I love to heel and toe pedaleries, but it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, and it feels so normal, it feels so good, it feels so like every manual car should have this automatic double deceleration system, you know. And also by when he double decelerated, you realize how light this flywheel of this gearbox is, because it's so easy and it goes so fast. It runs the RPM fast up and down. And also if I try to do it by myself, by my own, like now, the RPMs go so fast high and come so fast down that you really need to change quickly the gears to doesn't miss this perfect RPM window to change the gear. So if you want to do it by your own, but if you let the car do it by itself, you do it perfectly, really on point. Every downshift, perfect. Upshift, downshift, I'm loving it. But it's a little bit sad that you doesn't have, so I searched for it, but I didn't find the option to turn it off for the situation when I want to drive sporty and I want to heel and toe the pedalery by my own, you know, by myself. I didn't find this setting, and I'm not sure if you have this setting by this car. But it's not a big deal for me because the way how he do it sometimes even more better than me. When I drive really fast through these pass corners, I have the feeling he's a little bit more professional than me by heel and towing this car, by this double deceleration. So it's okay, but it's really funny. It's really funny how it works. And also by the normal daily using, even when you are, let's see, comfort mode, okay, third gear, listen to that. Third gear, second gear, you hear? He double decelerate also in the comfort mode. Why? Because it makes sense. Because it makes sense. And I think every modern car with a manual gearbox should have this automatic double deceleration system. But please, with the option to turn it off if I want to do it by my own. And here's another fun fact, you know, regularly a modern car, when you first, let's say you drive it you choose the drive select and you drive in the sports mode or sports plus mode or whatever, and then you turn the car off, and then maybe 1 hour again later you sit in the car, you start it, and then always every modern car starts again in the comfort or normal mode. Not here. This car starts always in the sports mode, okay? Always. Doesn't matter if you drive it before in the Sports Plus, also in this case Plus R, or you drive it in the comfort mode. Anytime when you restart the car, you are again in the sports mode. And I mean, this says a lot to me about the soul of this car, you know? Because I mean, this car says to you, okay, you decide to go for me, you decide to buy me, okay? That means you want some emotion, you want some sportiness. Because if you don't want this, you wouldn't buy me, you know? And that's true. You buy this car because you want emotions. You buy this car because it looks sporty and it drives sporty. And this is the way how this car always starts when you turn on the engine. It starts always in the sport mode. And that says so much about the character of the car. That says so much about the soul of a car, you know? That's really a fun fact that I never see it by another car before. The Brembo brakes on this car are phenomenal. I mean, I'll drive already the 6th time this hill down, and I drive it sporty and fast. And I really tried sometimes to bring this brake to the limits, but no chance. I mean, there is absolutely no fading. And the pressure point is always the same, always. Well, means you can really take this car for a track day on a racetrack, and it's really not a big deal for that brakes. I mean, as long as you use it as not as professional, than a hobby racing driver. But doesn't matter how hard I'm trying to brake, the brake point is always perfect.